A good day for Canada. We're going to move in forward a week. All right, Senator.
Est-ce que vous avez des choses à dire à propos de M. d'Entremont?
Oui, donc premièrement, je tiens à féliciter Chris d'Entremont pour son excellente décision. J'ai eu l'occasion de lui parler hier encore. Chris et moi, on se connaît depuis longtemps. C'est un fier Acadien, défendeur des langues officielles, un fier néo-écossais aussi, pour qui non seulement le développement économique est important, mais aussi la protection du filet social est également importante. Donc, je pense qu'il se retrouve bien dans notre gouvernement, puis on est très content de l'avoir parmi nous maintenant. Ça fait longtemps qu'on essayait de le recruter. Finalement, il a vu la lumière, on est très content également.
Quand on change de parti comme ça, est-ce qu'on ne devrait pas se faire réélire avec la nouvelle bannière dans sa circonscription? Est-ce qu'il ne devrait pas y avoir une partialité?
Écoutez, les règles sont claires. Donc, à partir du moment où les règles dans la démocratie parlementaire britannique sont claires, c'est-à-dire que le député peut prendre sa décision et il l'a prise.
Mais pour ses commettants, il a fait un engagement de représenter les conservateurs, mais là, c'est un libéral. Il ne devrait pas demander la permission aux gens dans sa circonscription.
Je pense que ce sont des décisions qui ne sont pas prises à la légère. Donc, en ce sens-là, lorsqu'un député décide de prendre une telle décision, c'est un processus qui est difficile, qui n'est pas facile. Donc, moi, ça fait au moins 5 ans que j'essaie de le recruter parce que j'ai toujours beaucoup aimé Chris. Je suis juste contente que finalement, il a pris cette bonne décision-là.
Est-ce qu'il y en a d'autres qui veulent recruter, Mme Joly?
Moi, j'aimerais recruter tous les députés de l'opposition, mais en autant qu'ils soient d'accord avec la plateforme de notre parti.
Ça envoie un message.
Est-ce que vous pensez que c'est possible d'aller chercher une majorité? Est-ce que vous êtes confiante de ça?
Moi, je prends jamais rien pour acquis. Donc, parce que bien entendu, chaque membre, chaque député a une décision à prendre par rapport à sa légitimité, qu'il représente, puis également son propre avenir politique. Se lancer en politique en soi, c'est une décision qui est très personnelle. Ça vient aussi avec l'appui de bénévoles, avec l'appui de la famille. Donc, c'est pas une décision qui se prend, pour ça je dis à la légère, parce que ça a des conséquences réelles sur les gens qui nous entourent. Et c'est souvent ces choix-là qui sont les plus déchirants pour des députés qui décident de changer de camp.
C'est un message. C'est
quoi le niveau d'implication?
Est-ce que vous travaillez fort pour le...
Moi, je vous l'ai dit, je suis toujours en recrutement. Vous voulez vous présenter? On va voir, là. Peut-être.
C'est un message à Pierre Poilievre.
OK. Là, j'ai assez parlé de
Pierre Poilievre.
What are the next steps for Stellantis, and do you believe you can get the money back?
So the next steps right now is, first and foremost, on Monday, I announced that we were starting the dispute resolution mechanism. I don't like the term, but that's the term that is written in the contract. So that's why I'm using that term. According to the contract, we have to do this for 30 days. And then afterwards, if we don't find any form of resolution, the government will sue Stellantis. Of course, we're acting in good faith. We want to make sure that there is a line coming back at the plant, that there's a real project for the plant. That's why I've been in contact also with Lana Payne, the head of Unifor, again yesterday, and that's why also I've been in contact with the workers I saw at Brampton. There is a new Canadian CEO at Stellantis, and I'll be having the opportunity to talk to him next week.
That'll be all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you.
Is the majority now, from your perspective, in reach now that d'Entremont has crossed the floor?
She had the first
Is
question.
the majority now in reach now that d'Entremont has crossed the floor?
Well, no. You know the math as well as I do. Yeah.
Okay, but what about what's in this budget for other parties that makes you think they might support it? Can you lay out specifically?
Conservatives that I know and talk to, and I mean by that I mean conservative voters, they're optimistic about the country. They want us to invest in Canada. They're very patriotic. And they don't like talking the country down. So I think there's a lot to like in this budget. for people who might have opted to vote Conservative at one point in time.
But what specifically is in there for the Conservatives, the NDP, and the Bloc that you see as a reason that each party could support it?
Well, if you're a Conservative voter, if you've thought of voting Conservative, you want economic growth. You want us to build the country. You want us to be optimistic about the country. You want us to see the possibilities of spanning this country with infrastructure and communities with projects. And I think there's a lot to like in there for people who may think that.
The
way.
NDP and the Bloc?
Allez-vous recruter d'autres conservateurs?
Je sais ce qui est arrivé dans les 24 dernières heures. Pour ce qui est des prochaines, je peux pas.
Est-ce que c'est votre ambition de construire une majorité avec des transfuges?
Vous connaissez la mathématique autant que moi.
What's in there for the NDP and the Bloc? What's in there for the NDP and the Bloc that you think you could get them on?
Well, with respect to the New Democrats, if you're looking at working people in this country, we've put specific language in there about building community projects, using union labor or prevailing wages. You have caregivers who are celebrating the investments in this budget. You have a renewed focus on health care, on health infrastructure, on preserving our social programs. And if you're a fan of the accomplishments of the last 4 years, dental care, pharmacare, these are very carefully preserved bits of investment in Canada's social infrastructure that I think any New Democrat should be proud of.
Concernant les compressions, les syndicats vous accusent d'avoir brisé un engagement électoral en faisant des compressions plutôt que de plafonner la fonction publique. Comment vous justifiez ça dans le budget?
Évidemment, nous avons parti de l'hypothèse qu'il fallait respecter la fonction publique, qu'il fallait agir avec compassion. Donc, vous voyez un nouveau régime de départ volontaire. Avec l'attrition, avec les départs volontaires, je pense que l'impact réel sur les gens devrait être très minime.
Il y a des votes sur des sous-amendements cette semaine, jeudi, oui, demain, après-demain probablement. Est-ce que vous pourriez en faire un vote de confiance?
Il faut que je vois le libérer.
Concernant les départs anticipés à la retraite, c'est financé à même la caisse de retraite de la fonction publique. En quoi c'est juste pour les autres contributeurs à ce fonds de pension? En quoi c'est équitable?
L'employeur et les employés contribuent, puis ce fonds de pension-là est très solvable. Donc, évidemment, c'est quelque chose que l'employeur peut choisir.
Have you had conversations?
No. Look, you know the math as well as I do. Yep.
Have you talked to other Conservatives about potentially crossing the floor, about the party?
I know what happened in the last 24 hours, what the next 24 hours holds. I'm becoming used to, waking up to surprises every day.
What do you think about Chris Dockema joining the Liberal caucus?
Well, I was born and raised in Nova Scotia, just a little bit down the highway from Greenwood, where he's based. And I'm very excited to welcome him to the National Caucus, the National Liberal Caucus. It's very good news.
Were you part of the process of bringing him into the fold at all?
Well, I let the House Leader and others do their work, but let me just say I'm part of the welcoming committee, that's for sure.
Okay, and do you know, are you working to recruit more Conservative MPs?
I'll just say this, the more the merrier. And on a substantive note, the fact that we have one Member of Parliament crossing the floor means that this budget is substantive, it serves all Canadians, and I urge all Members of Parliament to vote in terms of the policy, not in terms of partisanship.
Are you feeling better on the idea of getting a majority?
Thank you.
Is the majority, from your perspective, now in reach with D'Entremont crossing the floor?
Look, you don't have the seats until you have the seats, but my sense is it would be a mistake to put all of our effort in trying to recruit people, but instead let's do the good work of governing and convince people that we're the right party to govern, both Canadians and communities when they vote at elections, but if others who are frustrated with their experience within Mr. Poilievre's party are interested in joining the team to help support the measures that we're putting in place, of course we would welcome them, but my sense is the right strategy for the government is to focus not so much on the Ottawa bubble, but on the difference you can make, including through the policies that were included in the budget.
Do you think there's a start the process of recruiting him or the process of bringing him into the fold?
Look, this is a decision that Chris has made. I've had conversations with him over the last number of years, but they've primarily been about how we can work together at the time across party lines to serve the communities that he represented that were seeking access to the programs that I was responsible for administering. A great example, Chris was in my ear in a completely nonpartisan way, trying to secure support for the Mariner Centre, a well-used community recreational building in Yarmouth. I had support of the local MLA, who was Liberal at the time, Zach Churchill, and everybody came together. We worked on a project, got to the right scope. Chris hosted a big community event, invited us to do an announcement jointly for the community, and the thing that I love about the guy, it's always been about the people in his community he represents. These are the kind of conversations that perhaps open the door over the years to people seeing they can work better with one party than another. But today's news, or yesterday's news, is really a story about Chris making the right decision for his community, not political pressure.
Is there enough in this budget for Canadians at home to get them on your side to support it?
Well, look, right now, I'm very excited. As somebody from Nova Scotia who sees an opportunity with these measures to grow the economy, the massive investments we're putting in place is going to attract businesses to Canada, allow businesses to grow, to create good jobs for people in communities like mine, whether that's in new and emerging sectors, whether it's in traditional industries. I really see a huge opportunity to focus on good paying jobs and, importantly, to contribute to health infrastructure. People in rural Nova Scotia, I can tell you, they are big fans of policies to promote good paying jobs and investments in healthcare. These are the kinds of things that speak directly to the concerns that I hear as a local member of Parliament. So I'm excited. Let's see if we can get enough support in the House of Commons, regardless of which side of the House they may come from. But I think it's going to do a good job to serve people's interests at home.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks everyone.
I'm always happy about everything.
Do you hope for other new members of the caucus joining?
I was hoping we'd have a bigger caucus on April 28th, so, look, I chair the caucus. I'm happy with the group we have. Things will unfold as they will.
Have you been enlisted to court Conservative MPs to your side?
The only thing I do is work with my colleagues and try to work on things like getting this budget passed and whatnot, so I'm not actively recruiting, if that's what you're asking me.
Do you think there'll be any trust issues for Chris because he crossed the aisle? Do you think there will be any apprehension from the Liberal caucus?
None.
None?
No, Chris is a highly regarded, well-respected guy, and he always has been. There will be no reservations whatsoever.
What's your message to Conservatives who may be thinking of crossing the floor?
Look, decisions are very much individual. People have to make up their own mind in their own circumstances. This isn't a numbers game, as far as I'm concerned. Sure, Chris turns us from 169 to 170, but this is about people, and people have to make their own decisions based on their own circumstances.
So it's not about getting a majority?
Well, okay, of course we want a majority, but I mean, this is about people, and people, we need to remember that. People make tough decisions every day in this job. You're not just another seat in a chair. You're a human being who has family and friends and constituents and colleagues, and you need to remember that.
Are you confident that the budget is going to pass?
I'm optimistic the budget's going to pass.
But you're not 100% sure?
Well, you know the math as well as I do. I'm confident that once people have had a time to digest it, they'll see things the way we do, and that it's a good budget, and it's right for the time, and it will pass.
Have you been approached by any Conservatives? I know you're not actively recruiting, you said, but have you been approached by any Conservatives who've asked you about the party, about that they're maybe thinking about crossing?
Look, I talk to MPs from all parties every day about all kinds of things. You know this place better. If it wasn't for idle gossip around here, you guys would have 80% less to talk about, and so would we. So, but conversations happen every day about things.
What's your sense of how the party feels right now, given the caucus, given that Chris just crossed the floor?
Sorry,
given that Chris just crossed the floor.
How does the caucus feel? Yeah. Look, everybody I've talked to is very pleased, and as I said, Chris is a highly regarded individual. He's well respected, so people are going to welcome him with open arms.
How do you see the NDP? Their reaction is kind of, we're taking the time to see exactly the details of this budget, contrary to the Conservatives already saying we're going to vote no, and the Bloc as well saying we don't see how we could support that. How do you see the NDP stance in that context?
You know, I practiced law for 20 years before I went into politics, and if a judge ever said to me, I'm going to decide against you before I've heard from you or read your material, I'd have to question that judgment, right? All right, thanks.
Monsieur Miller, est-ce que vous y croyez à une majorité?
J'y croyais à une couple de mois. Mais je sais pas. C'est au choix individuel des députés en question qui pensent quitter le Parti conservateur.
Est-ce que vous comprenez certains conservateurs de se reconnaître dans le Parti libéral de Mark Carney?
Ben, certains sont très sympathiques, mais d'ailleurs, Chris d'Entremont, c'est un gars c'est un super bon Jack. Je sais pas pourquoi on le critique. Ben, je comprends pourquoi on le critique maintenant, mais je pense que ça montre la mauvaise foi des conservateurs de critiquer un gars qui, selon l'ensemble de la Chambre, peu importe la conviction politique, c'est un gars qui est très, très, très sympathique puis très apprécié. En tout cas, pour les autres, c'est à eux de choisir. Je comprends, c'est un choix politique, à la fois politique et personnel, mais pour l'instant, j'ai rien pour...
Selon vous, est-ce que ça témoigne d'une certaine ambiance ou dynamique au sein des rangs conservateurs?
Je peux que le présumer. Moi, je ne suis pas parmi eux.
Have you been invited to court any conservative MPs?
Across the floor? No.
Yeah. Have you talked to any of your conservative colleagues?
None. I have actually have a good relation with a number of them, but I think they know they wouldn't send me out. They know what I think of the current iteration of the Conservative Party, and particularly their leader, so I think they'd see me coming a mile away. But I have a pretty good relationship personally with a number of them. Chris was one of them. He's a super nice guy. I think that's a testament to how miserable the attitude is in the Conservative Party currently, particularly with a miserable leader like Pierre Poilievre, to attack Chris because he's universally liked and respected and appreciated and seen as a good guy, but to go and call him a traitor is a little excessive.
Do you think it's a possibility?
Avec le timing de tout ça qui arrive, la journée du budget, vous pensez que ça envoie quel genre de message aux Canadiens?
Aux Canadiens? Bien, qu'il y a des gens raisonnables dans la Chambre des communes qui regardent le budget de façon objective puis qui prennent leur choix en conséquence. Je pense que ça ne date pas d'hier. Les gens qui ne sont pas contents dans le Parti conservateur, chapeauté par Pierre Poilievre. Donc, c'est pas une surprise à qui que ce soit. Le timing, c'est le timing, mais ça ne date pas d'hier non plus.
Est-ce que ça
interpret D'Entremont's move more as a push than a pull? Is that right? I don't want to put words in your mouth. Like
I don't know.
In his caucus,
whatever.
Or is it a draw to yours?
I don't know what motivated Chris. He was always seen as a pretty moderate guy. He's a nice guy. He's a super nice guy. He's appreciated by the entirety of Parliament. And had a good run at becoming the chair of the House, président de la Chambre des communes en anglais, c'est quoi? Shit. Okay, I'm my translation brain. Speaker of the House of Commons. So, you know, he's a good guy, but to treat him like crap just because he decided a very personal decision to leave and come to us, I think is a testament to how miserable it is in the Conservative Party currently under Pierre Poilievre.
Est-ce que ça respecte la décision démocratique des Canadiens? Vous avez fait référence aux résultats électoraux. Vous disiez, je croyais à une majorité à ce moment-là, mais est-ce que d'aller chercher une majorité de cette façon-là, ça serait démocratique?
C'est notre démocratie. Les députés ont le choix de parti, puis ils peuvent changer. Il n'y a aucun système de recall, donc c'est à eux de le faire. Puis on est à des miettes d'être à une majorité, mais honnêtement, même en minorité, il faut gérer notre démocratie comme on doit la gérer. C'est-à-dire qu'on doit avoir au moins un consensus pour passer un budget. Donc, si c'est avec des gens qui traversent le parquet de la Chambre des communes, tant mieux. Mais si c'est avec, je ne sais pas, la NPD, le Bloc qui se rallie derrière nous, ben, c'est une autre formule. Sans ça, on est en élection.
Are you confident that the budget is going to pass, or is there a real risk that it could?
I'm pretty confident. I mean, I've always said in the Liberal Party we're kind of our own worst enemy, so if it's usually a mistake that we make and not other parties. It's my own introspection, but the reality is I think the numbers seem to be there, but it just takes 2 or 3 people to forget to show up in Parliament for a confidence vote, and we're stuck in a mess.
Do you think Chris will face some trust issues from some within the Liberal caucus?
Maybe. I mean, it's up to him to measure it. He probably thought about that before. He probably lost trust in his own leader, so he's choosing between one or the other, and I don't know what his plans are. I don't want to speak for him. He's generally a good guy, so I'm not going to question his motives.
Have you spoken to him since yesterday?
I sent him an email. He responded, thanks, but just because I didn't know where he was going, but just one. It felt like he was getting dumped on unfairly, so I sent him a note. But actually, it was before I knew he was joining us.
Mr. Miller, what's your message to Conservatives thinking of crossing today?
What's that?
What's your message to Conservatives that perhaps maybe are thinking of crossing the floor?
Me?
Yeah, what's your message?
Only if the budget speech had gone any longer.
What is your message to those Conservatives today?
you know, it's up to them to decide whether they want that leader. I have nothing against Conservatives. I have a lot against the current iteration of their leader that has brought us all down in politics and has imported some dirty types of campaigning. That's his style. I don't think he's going to change, but it's not about the Conservative movement. It's about the individual that leads it. And if those people are tired of him, then they know how I've been feeling for the last few years.
Ça va très bien.
Est-ce que vous êtes content de l'addition du caucus libéral?
Ah, ça, je suis content du budget, oui. Regardez, bien sûr, mais c'est la décision de M. Entremont. Alors, s'il a pris cette décision, on va l'accueillir chaudement.
Vous avez déjà vu ça, des transfuges
On a
à
déjà vu ça.
l'Assemblée
On a déjà
nationale,
vu ça.
par exemple?
Et c'est
Qu'est-ce que-
toujours pas facile pour la personne qui le fait, donc pour ça, je le salue, parce que c'est pas simple. Dans notre système, c'est pas simple.
D'abord, votre message à M. d'Entremont, personnellement.
Bienvenue. Bienvenue.
Juste
ça. Bienvenue.
Est-ce que vous pensez que c'est possible d'aller chercher une majorité, d'aller convaincre d'autres conservateurs?
Ça, je ne sais pas. Je crois que c'est possible d'avoir assez de votes pour passer le budget. Maintenant, est-ce qu'il y aura d'autres... Ça, je ne sais pas.
Est-ce que vous aimeriez ça? Concernant les compressions dans
Oui.
la fonction publique fédérale, comment on peut avoir une fonction publique efficace si on élimine 40 000 emplois?
Ce n'est pas du jour au lendemain, ça va être fait, bien sûr. On va le faire de façon respectueuse et de façon graduelle. Et je pense qu'on sera capable de maintenir la qualité des services en le faisant.
Les syndicats accusent,
les
syndicats accusent le gouvernement d'avoir trahi les Canadiens parce qu'on s'était engagé à plafonner la fonction publique et non à couper. Qu'est-ce que vous répondez à ça?
Ces ajustements vont se faire graduellement sur un certain nombre de mois. Et on va le faire correctement, on va le faire de façon à ce que parce qu'on tient à la qualité de la fonction publique. Les personnes qui travaillent font un très bon travail. Seulement, les chiffres étaient beaucoup trop élevés. Il faut ramener ça plus à l'intérieur.
Êtes-vous à l'aise, M. Théo, avec les déficits à perte de vue? Il n'y a pas de retour à l'équilibre budgétaire.
Regardez, le déficit, on est à 2,5% du PIB. Le moment est important. Il fallait agir. C'est ce que nous avons fait à l'intérieur de la capacité fiscale qu'on a, 2,5% du PIB comme déficit.
Et les frais sur la dette qui vont grimper jusqu'à 60, c'est beaucoup d'argent.
Encore une fois, un chiffre absolu. Tous ces chiffres-là, que ce soit de dette ou de déficit, à mon avis, il faut toujours les relativiser en proportion du PIB, par exemple. Donc, c'est gérable. Tout ce que je veux dire, c'est que c'est gérable. Merci.
Bonjour, Mme Joly. Comment...
Êtes-vous impliqué dans des discussions avec des conservateurs du Québec pour essayer de les convaincre de traverser le plancher de la Chambre?
Oui et non, dans le sens que oui, j'ai toujours entretenu de très bonnes relations avec plusieurs députés conservateurs du Québec en particulier. Je pense que plusieurs d'entre eux se sentent à l'étroit et coincés au sein du leadership de M. Poilievre. La goutte qui a fait déborder le vase, évidemment, c'est la dernière sortie de M. Poilievre qui méprisait les agents de la GRC. Mes collègues conservateurs de la région et du Québec n'aiment pas ce genre d'attitude.
Ils vous en ont parlé?
Écoutez, c'est assez implicite dans les échanges publics que l'on a pu observer. Puis en privé, je pense que plusieurs d'entre eux sont mal à l'aise avec ça. Mais écoutez, c'est à eux de voir qu'est-ce qui est mieux pour leur circonscription, pour les gens de leur milieu. Je pense que peu d'entre eux se sentent à l'aise avec le carcan qui est imposé par M. Poilievre au sein du caucus, mais ça relève du caucus conservateur.
Est-ce que vous êtes en train de...
Oui, Christian Noël avec Radio-Canada, vous êtes en forme?
Très bien, merci.
Oui, vous êtes content d'avoir un nouveau collègue député libéral?
Les Canadiens vont continuer à faire confiance à ceux qui pensent à eux.
Oui, mais quel message ça envoie d'avoir un conservateur qui maintenant vient travailler avec les libéraux?
On est en train de livrer, on a été élu pour ça, on est en train de livrer la marchandise.
Et donc le fait que M. d'Entremont travaille maintenant pour les libéraux, ça veut dire quoi?
Il est en train de travailler pour les Canadiens. Merci.
What's your message to conservatives who may be thinking of crossing the floor?
Pardon?
What's your message to conservatives who may be thinking of crossing the floor?
Let me just say I'm very pleased that Chris D'Entremont has made the choice to join our caucus. He's my neighbour in Nova Scotia, great colleague, respected across party lines, and he'll make a great contribution. what I said to Kate McKenna with CBC, I said the Prime Minister is governing as a centrist. I think moderate Conservatives, in my own writing, in terms of people that would identify as red Tories, are identifying with this government and Mark Carney as our Prime Minister. So look, if there's other members of Parliament that are looking across the way saying this is the type of government that I like, we're always welcome to those conversations.
Are you hearing from Conservative MPs? Are they coming to talk to you about asking questions about your party possibly?
Well, that wouldn't be a conversation I'm going to have right here in front of the media, but what I would say is, again, the way in which the Prime Minister is governing is, I think, a big tent type of Liberal Party that is centrist. And if you are a moderate Conservative type of member of Parliament and you want to see fiscal discipline, but at the same time see a Prime Minister that is balanced, that is focused on the economy, that is showing the maturity that this country needs right now, I have to hope and assume that we are looking like a desirable choice. And so it's great to see Mr. D'Entremont join. If there's other members of Parliament that are feeling the same way, again, I think we're always welcome to those conversations. It's important. And we have a budget that is demonstrably good for this country at this moment, at a critical time where we're facing great uncertainty in terms of making sure that we have the votes necessary to not create another election. Canadians voted for Mark Carney and the Liberal government, and we need to make sure that we allow the plan to play out such that we can drive the initiatives that matter to the country.
Are you two riding neighbors? Were you part of that effort to sway D'Entremont over?
Look, Chris and I have had conversations for a long time about the ways in which we can collaborate. I had the opportunity to spend some time with him and his wife last night. He's a great colleague. He's, obviously if we sat down and talked about things we agree on, probably almost 100% we could agree on, right? We're similar types of political backgrounds. He's a red Tory. I would identify as a business liberal, blue liberal type. So just very pleased that Chris has joined. Glad that it makes sense for him. These are not easy decisions, understandably, but he's going to make a great addition to our team. I look forward to being able to work with him on common issues. We were talking about CFB Greenwood, for example, that is in his riding but is demonstrably close to King's Hants. Just really excited to have him come over.
Est-ce que vous espérez que ce sera possible pour les libéraux d'avoir une majorité? Et comment ça respecterait si c'est le cas, comment ça respecterait le résultat des dernières élections?
Écoute, chaque fois quand nous avons une élection, c'est une élection pour chaque siège du Parlement et c'est une décision de chaque député de déterminer quel est le meilleur intérêt pour chacune. Et bien sûr, aujourd'hui, M. D'Entremont a déterminé la meilleure façon pour avancer les intérêts du Canada et pour ses concitoyens et avec notre équipe. Donc, nous sommes très heureux d'avoir l'opportunité de travailler avec M. D'Entremont et encore le Premier ministre maintenant avec le budget, avec ses sentiments, c'est centriste et si vous êtes une progressiste conservateur modéré, je pense et je crois que notre gouvernement c'est un bon choix parce que les sentiments, l'idéologie de notre gouvernement, c'est exactement une progressiste, conservateur, centriste, progressiste, mais aussi fiscal conservateur.
Are you confident the budget's going to pass?
Look, I'll leave that to the House Leader to be able to determine to you what those votes are, but I think at this moment we don't have a vote, we don't have a certainty that the budget will pass, which is all the more a reason that we need members of Parliament to be able to say, look, this is a budget that is reasonable, it's a budget that is focused on economic growth in the country, it's an important plan at a moment that Canada really needs it. Obviously, Mr. D'Entremont joining our caucus puts us one vote closer to having that majority to provide stability for the country, but these are conversations that are going to play out in the days ahead. But we're very happy that Mr. D'Entremont is joining, and I think it's the right approach. Thank you.
You about the budget yesterday. How will you compete with against other countries to bring in top foreign talent with the $1 billion fund?
Well, there's a number of ways we're going to do that. As you saw, there was a pledge to ensure that we're attracting top international researchers, starting with 1,000. And of course, there's on the visa issue, the H-1B in the United States, an accelerated pathway for that. And so we will do our very best. This is obviously something other democracies will be involved in, but Brand Canada is a very strong one. Take into account the very just outstanding network of universities and other post-secondary institutions that are here in the country, I think you're going to see an approach taken that will be successful here. We're going to attract top researchers.
And how do you plan on further reducing temporary resident numbers? And will you put in more eligibility criteria? And will you impose more caps on different categories?
So there's going to be more details announced on as far as the temporary stream of things is concerned. Workers in particular, yes, there is a vast decrease of 43% that the government will move ahead with when it comes to temporary residents in this country, students and workers. As far as workers are concerned, look, the minister's I've met with a number of stakeholders over the past months, including the past few weeks and days. We understand very well that there's particular sectors that are impacted, tariff-impacted sectors, rural and remote communities in particular that do rely on the temporary foreign worker program. And although the program makes up, as I'm sure you know, less than 1% of Canada's workforce, it remains a very important program that, yes, is in need of reform in my view, but plays a vital role, and we'll have more details on exactly the mechanics of everything.
And then on immigration fraud, documents that CBC obtained show that your government's specifically worried about fraudulent visa applications from India and Bangladesh. Are the governments of those two countries helping you out?
We continue to engage with partners across the world. As you've seen, there's a rapprochement, if I can put it that way, between the Canadian government and the Indian government, and we'll continue the dialogue. But certainly there is a message of sustainability but responsibility in our overall immigration system, and countering fraud is something that Canadians expect us to do, and that's exactly what we will do.
And for Canadians who saw this another drop in the immigration numbers that you're looking at, this budget yesterday, why was that decision made? Like, why is that continuing to go down?
Look at our platform, actually. A very clear platform that the Prime Minister ran on, that all Liberal MPs ran on, and that is a message of sustainability in our immigration system. Yes, there is a dramatic decline, but we have to take into account the pressures that are facing the society right now. Various communities across the country, cities, towns, you name it, are having challenges with housing costs, rent in particular, but we're seeing already the effect of the government's actions. A decrease in rent in the major cities, for example. It's not exclusive in every single city, but we're seeing great progress on that, and I expect that to continue, along with other services that are pressured. But at the same time, to go back to your original point, we have to ensure that the immigration system is a great opportunity for talent attraction. I mean, the immigration system helped to build up this country's economy. And so what I'll leave you with is a message that really champions the idea that the immigration system and the immigration policy that we've set out is economic policy. Immigration policy in this country must be about economic policy. Of course, there's humanitarian aspects and compassionate aspects that we will continue to focus on, but the time is to build, and the time is to build in various ways, and immigration can help with that.
And on the floor crossing, does the majority feel like it's in reach now that Don Tremont has crossed the floor? And have you spoken to any other Conservative MPs? Have any approached you about doing potentially the same?
No, I won't speculate on those things, but I will say this: Don Tremont has the respect of colleagues around the House of Commons, across the aisle. I'm happy that he's part of our caucus. He's always been just a gentleman to work with. He, as you know, he sat in the Speaker's chair as Deputy Speaker for a number of years. He has the trust of the House. He's widely regarded in his community as well. Obviously, he's been elected numerous times at the provincial and federal level. So I look forward to working with him. We'll see what the coming days and weeks bring.
There could be any more?
Who knows? Who knows? Again, I'm focused on my riding. I'm focused on my work on immigration, helping the government with that, and speculating on floor crossing is not something I'm going to do.
Do you have, you must have colleagues and people you consider friends across the aisle. What do they tell you?
Look, I won't, I'm not going to betray certain conversations. All of which is to say, though, that we have an opportunity here to move ahead with an approach that says that the country and its economy matters. We've seen already in the past election campaign us attract those of a red Tory persuasion, if you like, the very right-wing approach of Mr. Poilievre. We saw that play out with the RCMP issue just a few days ago. I think people are seeing that, perhaps in his party, but beyond. Certainly, this is what I hear in my community. This is not the Conservative Party of a Joe Clark or Brian Mulroney. Far from it. We need to focus on the economy, put forward a fiscally responsible approach, and that's exactly what you saw in the budget. And obviously, Mr. Don Tremont was was swayed by that. You saw his statement.
Thank you.
I think Canadians are concerned about an election, and I'm encouraged by progressive conservatives, recognizing the importance of this budget and the investments we're making beyond election cycles. And the more we consider what's in their best interest, the more I think people will recognize that what we have putting forward, and the reason that some people are concerned about an election is because we have a strong mandate that speaks to them.
What do you think is in this budget that could get MPs from other parties to support it? Can you lay out some specifics?
Well, the major investments are a primary issue. Sustaining our social programs are also important. Enabling us to protect the environment within that mandate and within the budget is also evident. And I think that's what Canadians are looking at. And talking about protecting our sovereignty, also protecting our economy, enhancing our economy.
Why would the building retrofit, sorry.
Just on the public service cuts. You have a lot of constituents who work in public service in
you know, I mean, the better person to listen to, of course, is the minister. Look, these are, I'll be honest with folks, this is tough, right? But I could say it's a lot better than you know, what had happened during the time with Mr. Harper. This is something where we're all looking at, and we're making sure that it's going to be done through the I think, a very civilized way. There's going to be a lot of this which is going to be done from people who are leaving the public service for retiring. There are ways to help them bridge to that. There are folks, you know, but we're going to get back to a size of government that we had before the pandemic. And so I think there are ways. Of course, I go door knocking regularly, and I know that my constituents were concerned about it, and they are concerned about it. But I think everybody realizes that this is probably done in the most civilized way possible, and it's a way to making. I mean, we should be so grateful to our public servants and how they've delivered programs to Canadians, and now it's an opportunity for us to make sure that if we're going to continue doing important things during this time, and no one's going to say, like, historically we are living in some challenging times, then if we're going to be doing big things, we need to make sure that we have the means to do it and the tools to do it, and that requires some adjustments.
What do you think of Chris joining the
I think that's just great news. Chris is a great
worried
guy.
about
I
the
worked with him very closely when I was Speaker, and he was Deputy Speaker. He's a person, a man of integrity who I've worked with well, since 2019, but when we worked very closely together, we met literally every single day. I'm so happy to have him as part of our caucus. He's going to be a really valuable member.
So no trust issues?
With Chris? Yeah. Not at all. I really love the guy. I mean, even if he had remained there, we were very close friends. Our spouses know each other. He's a wonderful man. I'm just glad that he's joined the team. I got to zoom.
Did you talk at all when he was?
Il y a la FCFA qui est sortie en disant qu'il se trouve ignoré par les gouvernements Carney. Peut-être votre réponse par rapport à ça.
Écoutez, honnêtement, je comprends mal cette sortie-là, puisque notre gouvernement fait des investissements historiques dans les langues officielles. Donc, on a réformé la loi, les règlements s'en viennent, la nomination d'une nouvelle commissaire, 4 milliards de dollars d'investissement. C'est la première fois dans l'histoire du pays qu'on atteint nos objectifs d'immigration francophone hors Québec à 4 %. En fait, des objectifs qu'on avait depuis des années. On a atteint 4 %. On est à 7 présentement. On va être à 8 bientôt. On veut se rendre à 12. Alors, honnêtement, je comprends très, très mal cette sortie-là.
Sur le plafond des GES du secteur pétrolier, vous avez travaillé très fort là-dessus en signant dans le budget des critères pour lesquels on serait prêt à abandonner ce plafond-là. Vous sentez ça comment d'avoir...
Je vous rappellerai peut-être à l'époque qu'il y a des organisations comme l'Institut du climat, des économistes comme Trevor Toombs, Andrew Leach qui disaient on peut atteindre les mêmes objectifs par exemple, ce qu'on fait sur le méthane, sur la tarification industrielle. Et ce qu'on dit dans le budget, c'est qu'on peut effectivement faire ça. Moi, je ne suis pas marié. Ce qui est important, c'est la réduction des émissions de gaz à effet de serre. Si on peut le faire par la tarification industrielle, et là, c'est la première fois qu'on dit qu'elle va se poursuivre après 2030. On n'avait jamais affirmé ça par le passé. C'est une chose que les investisseurs nous demandent parce qu'ils veulent de la prévisibilité. Et 4 ans de prévisibilité pour la tarification, c'est pas suffisant parce que maintenant, on peut financer des projets grâce aux crédits carbone qui sont générés à cause de la tarification industrielle. Alors, moi, je suis très à l'aise avec ça. Peut-être une dernière question.
Oui, à Québec, aujourd'hui, on se plaint là, du ministre Giguère, entre autres, du montant pour les infrastructures. On trouve que c'est pas suffisant. Vous leur répondez quoi?
C'est des montants. Je comprends que c'est un peu un sport national quand on est à Québec de se plaindre du fédéral qui en fait pas assez. C'est des investissements historiques en culture et on sait à quel point c'est important. C'est important la culture au Québec. évidemment pour des raisons intrinsèques, pour qui on est, pour défendre notre souveraineté culturelle, notre identité. Mais d'un point de vue économique, c'est 1 million d'emplois au pays, donc beaucoup au Québec. Il y a énormément de programmes d'infrastructures, notamment pour les infrastructures de santé. On veut doubler la construction grâce à Maison Canada, le rythme de construction. Je pense qu'il y en a beaucoup pour le gouvernement du Québec.
Merci beaucoup. Une dernière question. Si on a les conservateurs, M. Guilbeault.
Can I ask you about the climate competitiveness strategy and your impressions of it?
Well, I mean, it clearly signals that climate change continues to be a priority for the government of Canada. For the first time ever, we're announcing that we will continue industrial carbon pricing post-2030, which is something that investors and people in the clean tech and renewable energy sector have been saying is very important, so that they know that this tool continues to be there to fund projects post-2030. Moving ahead with the methane regulations, we tabled draft regulations. We want to finalize that. So I think it's a good news. I mean, especially when you look around us, many countries are abandoning the fight against climate change. We're certainly not in Canada.
When will we see an online harms bill?
I'm sorry?
When will we see an online harms bill?
I mean, we haven't said that we would be doing it, but clearly it continues to be an issue. We're looking at the possibility of bringing back a new version of, or a different version of C-63 that was tabled by my colleague, ex-colleague Varani. You may recall that when I was Heritage Minister the first time, I worked on that quite a bit, so it's an issue that's very dear to my heart.
Question for Transport Minister. The ISEF program, the rebate for electric vehicles, wasn't in the budget. Why not?
As you know, there's a temporary pause on to allow us some time to take stock and review some of those measures. So more news to come.
Are you going to jury?
How was it?
It was fantastic. It was fantastic. Caucus meetings. I look forward to every Wednesday. These meetings are always good. Today was very special.
Are you involved at all with the in recruiting more conservative MPs?
I've answered this question a couple times today already. I'm not recruiting anybody. I talk to people from all sides of the House every day, many times a day. So, you know.
But you're open to it.
I'm friendly with everybody.